This program is a presentation of UCTV for educational and non-commercial use only.
I'll read from different stages. Jonah. How does the sun set? Like snow. What color is the sea? Large. Jonah, are you salty? I'm salty. Jonah, are you a flag? I'm a flag. The fireflies rest now. What are stones like? Green. How do little dogs play? Like flowers. Jonah, are you a fish? I'm a fish. Jonah, are you a sea urchin? I'm a sea urchin. Listen to the flow. Jonah is the roe running through the woods. Jonah is the mountain breathing. Jonah is all the houses. Have you ever heard such a rainbow? What is the dew like? Are you asleep? Triumphal Arch. This is a longer poem. It happened, basically it's a diary, which happened when I lived in Mexico. Yesterday afternoon, Giorgio dropped in again. I took him to lunch. He showed me the poems he'd written in the morning. Then he called up Alfonso at San Luis Potosi, 113A. Alfonso said he'd wait for us on Calle Jalapa, but we missed each other. We made it to his old colonial house and waited out front. He arrived in a Volkswagen, his head shaven. I knew immediately he was a magician. He seemed to take an interest in me. He took us through the rooms. We talked about Levi, Sir Randolph. He was telling me about his Zen teacher. He showed me the book he was finishing, World Nutritional Plan. Then we smoked something he called plain grass from Palenque. I was holding his things, swords, spheres, rope crosses, playing with little bottles of mercury. He said he would perform a little show for the two of us. He danced, he played and blew, grinning constantly. You'll be amazed at the horrible power that kills, he said. You won't be able to resist joy. Now I'll continue writing my book, he said, and drive you both to downtown. We got out at the Nizza-Hamburg crossroads. We started walking. I was astonished to take such large steps, to breathe so deeply, move so smoothly. Where are we going? I asked Giorgio. We're going, he replied. Are you scared? I said. He said he was sure I wouldn't kill him. I didn't know anymore. I felt the power would lead us through the temple, that I would eat his heart. We went somewhere to sit, to have a drink. Our mouths were very dry. We went on foot, upon a carpet. We arrived at Avenida Juarez. Giorgio pointed to the immense triumphal arch on Plaza de la República. There's my hotel, he said. We walked for a mile on a red carpet. A huge flag fluttered from the triumphal arch. It was November the 20th, Dia de Mexico. Where are we going? I asked him. To the beginning, he replied. They'll all be there, even the President of the Republic and the Spanish King. I only felt my strength growing. I would first make love to him and then eat up his heart. You know, he said, Alfonso told me how a snake once crawled before him. He stepped aside, yet the snake slithered toward him. It didn't kill him because he gave it all the power. Do you think I'm the snake now? I said. No, he said. You're not a snake. You're walking parallel to me. He pointed to the right, away from the carpet, which led to the eternal flame under the triumphal arch. I grew sad. We walked for another hour or two. The temple was always on either our left or right. I remember the sound of the fluttering flag. Then he pointed to a window. That's my window. You decide, he said. The Hotel Pennsylvania is all in tile, all covered with blue glazed tile. An old woman was sleeping at the reception desk. Up in the room he smoked and said, "It's your decision. It's up to you whether to kill me or not." I stopped undoing my belt. I stopped taking off his boots. I lay down and fell asleep. Then I woke up. Giorgio was sitting on the raffia chair by the wall, crying. "You're not the only one who'd like to love," he said. I knew it was done. I had drunk up his heart. "I'll be off now," I said. Giorgio's face was radiant and beautiful. "You see," he said, reconciled, "light is for everyone." This morning, when I went out to breakfast, I bought a paper, Uno mas Uno, and read that 383 Americans had committed ritual suicide in the rainforest of Guyana under the guidance of Jim Jones. And these were the first news, 383. There were more, as we know. This is the whole area was probably hit by some kind of total craziness. Also Mexico, and my life was like this, does this. Red flowers. Red flowers grow in the sky. There's a shadow in the garden. The light penetrates. There's no light to be seen. How then can the shadow be seen? There's a shadow in the garden. All around big white stones he scattered. We can sit on them. Stones lie scattered. We can sit on them. The hills around are just like the hills on earth, only lower. They look perfectly tender. I think we too are perfectly light. We hardly touch the ground. When I take a step, it seems the red flowers draw back a little. The air is fragrant, both cool and burning. New beings draw closer, some invisible hand smoothly placing them in the grass. They are beautiful and quiet. We'll all here together. Some of them, swimming toward this place, are turned around in the air and cut off. They disappear. We can't see them anymore. They groan. Now my body feels as if it's in a fiery tunnel. It rises like dough, drizzles apart in the stars. There's no sex in heaven. I feel no hands, but all things and beings are perfectly joined. They rush apart only to become even more united. Colors evaporate. All sounds are like a sponge in the eyes. Now I know. Sometimes I was a rooster, sometimes a roe. I know I had bullets in my body. They crumble away now. How beautifully I breathe. I feel I'm being ironed. It doesn't burn at all. Happiness is hot, splattered brains. Whoever is truly cast in pure love needs no heaven. Let heaven go. The body blossoms into a terrible silence. Walls and chairs awaken. Parts of things were once human members too. My love, your warm pressure on my temples hurts so much. It pushes me into a sacred circle, shrinking and expanding. Its massive hand gives and then scatters me into the bone white of night. We're passers-by here, lost and helpless. Color, weight, and sex dissolve. My waterfall is hurting. The white drops remain, awakened into granite. Only cliché is real. Nostrils flare, attacked, destroyed, revered, and licked. Like a stone's white shiny parts, which generations and generations have licked with love. It was given to them to worship, to scoot on their knees like bugs, to groan with the almighty passion of God. Sunflower. Are you asleep? A sunflower, black seed, gold. Are you asleep? The gods spread their wings over you. Black venom, a closed miracle. Are you asleep? The dew flattens you. You sleep, you wake, bewitched, dust and whirlpools of trains, of field paths. You're asleep, and you're expecting a bride, a black rain, drops of light, a black sword, a sunflower, golden bondsmen, a poppy and a weed, the steps of tired people, their boats loaded with soil, your death, sister of the sun, a statue of greeting. In the glow I meditate on my sins, crickets, a red brick driven into the ground, pumpkins, brothers, winged animals, sunflower, we share the land, silence of turning. The difference. Did you open his eyes? Did you think he was unfriendly? I didn't open his eyes. I didn't think he was unfriendly. Will you burn him? Will you bring him wings? I won't burn him. I won't bring him wings. What's his profession? Driver. He drives in the dust all day. Does he splash when the snow falls? When the snow falls, he clings to chains. Where did you meet him? In the woods. He said he wanted to be a pilot. He wanted to know if it's much warmer down south and if there's much difference between footprints. Sweet great mother's white hair anthems. You had a cotton mouth since your birth, a tiny, tiny one. Oh, lilies that nibbled my hands, pierced my skin and stripped, changed my veins into the body of another. Me too, in this world I rode up the river, crept on the bank in Canto 29, worked out, swallowed light. It didn't hurt. Everything was blessed. I allowed the cracking of nuts, wanted in honey, till the heart overgrew them. Changed rails, let old yellow trams go where they haven't been, crunching air long time. Human and animal flesh in the dissection room still lets out screams. Love me, still hear bales of wheat, trucks, cranes, oils, containers grinding and splashing in the harbor. The bronze floor was boiling. Oh, birds bringing wails, dropping them on the guests' dark, disheveled hair so the apple burst, the plum burst, the grape burst. The juices mingled. We became lotuses and little boats leaping through towns on the water's surface. We smelled dust, saw timbers in the air, in huge fires carrying silt, lime odor of burned and redeemed flesh, the blaze that made the same decision as the gentle titmouse or the white skunk and bolted away, swam off as fish with wings, as the jagged mouth. When you breathe in, does the earth remember? Does it like shifts? Does your gel crack as sweet molasses? Giordano Bruno, still my home and fire, my juice, my sweet womb. I long for solid earth in heaven, to lick your eyelids and stay even, so they do not rise. Nikola Tesla. When St. Francis took off his coat, he wasn't cold. His previous life was cold, boiling to turn into wine. When it turned into wine, moles came to drink, grasshoppers, cats, too, who in the Middle Ages were led around on a chain because they used to be lions. People were afraid cats would eat them. Not true. Cats never ate people. Only those lazy little monks copied the text so inattentively that a lot of rust appeared, just like on great ocean liners. Truly, cats were lions, silky ones. There were small sewing baskets beside them. Even then, they were grazing in the desert. They grazed in that they licked the sand, like hens when they need calcium. The hens lie on their sides in the dark. The lights are on in all the houses. Nikola Tesla, through hard work, scratched out electricity, just like people who smell peas, separating the pea from the pod. All done, he said. This is electricity. Amen. Now turn off the light. and go to sleep. Death's window, to stop the blood of flowers and rotate the order of things, to die in the river, to die in the river, to hear the heart of the rat. There's no difference between the moons and my tribe's silver, to clean the field and run as far as the earth's edge, to carry in my breast the word, the crystal, at the door the soap's evaporating, the conflagration lit up the day, to turn around once more, and to strip the frock the poppy had bitten through the sky, to walk the desert roads and drink shadows, to feel the oak tree in the mouth of a spring, to stop the blood of flowers, to stop the blood of flowers. The altars look at each other, eye, to lie down on a blue cabbage. Now again there's a longer one, also from my Mexican Robbie. Sometimes at night, when everyone is asleep, I cry because I know I'll go to hell. Aunt Lisa won't go, and she's fatter than me. The pillows are prickly. I can't sleep because I think too much. When I don't cry, I switch on the light. The only way to claim myself is to make a shadow of a little rabbit on the wall. I don't have any friends because when I was 3, I fell down the stairs. They say it shook me so badly that now I'm falling apart. They call me trash can. Father works all day, mother works at the market. Lisa cooks and beats me because she can't find a husband. Everyone is thin at school. We go to a school with crumbling walls. The fence is rusty, and if you grab it, your hands turn brown. I always wipe my hands on the grass so the rust doesn't get on my pants. No one comes to pick me up from school anymore. When I grow up, I'll be alone. Aunt Lisa watches every penny like a hawk. It's for her dowry, and she never puts enough food on my plate. I don't eat anything. Stars must be really light, and sparrows aren't as light as I thought. I weigh them myself. For their size, they weigh the same as me. I'd lose weight if I could fly. I know how air scrapes your cheeks if you open the window in a car. Only my legs are normal. I'm saying what I think. Whoever doesn't say what he thinks goes to pieces. Big animals form inside me, their backs pressing against my belly. Sometimes I think I'm a box in which there is another Robbie, and in that Robbie is another Robbie. 3 of us, each going off in all directions by himself. One day I'll let them both go. I'll buy a very thin string and tie them by the legs so they can graze and go their separate ways. So I can go about day and night without them, and if my belly shrinks, I'll cut the string and they'll get lost in the space where they graze. And they say, if someone really wants to lose weight, they shouldn't eat for a week. But if I let them outside but for a week, they could freeze, they could get lost. It's not clear if I would be thinner if they didn't exist. Not clear at all. And then I might look like I don't even have my arms. That's right. They're my arms and my brothers. I have one of each on each arm, and inside me, in my body, they resemble the wings of a butterfly in a cocoon. One day they'll leave, and then my arms will wither. The old arms I'll cast down to hell. I'll go to the stairs and burn them. I don't have any other brothers because Aldo's blonde. One brother can be blonde and the other dark. I'd like to go to Mass by myself, not together. Aldo can throw himself against the church door, can lie there flat as a snowball. Everyone can lie flat. If it's crowded in church, you can't stand face to face with God. But now people bring the kitchen sink to church. Even if they wash themselves and dress nicely, it's no use. I can smell food. I can smell food during the elevation of the host. I can smell food during the confession. They won't let me touch Christ. Once they let people kiss his feet, but now they want to draw him as he was a gym teacher, and that's disgusting. Aunt Lisa is the most disgusting of all because she's the fattest, and that's why she can't find a husband. I'll shake the gates at school, and when mother comes home, she will no longer have those dead eyes, and father will read to me the story of the pea. Why am I the shortest and the fattest? Why do rabbits mate too? Couldn't God at least have let the little rabbits stay pure? They haven't done anything. Whatever lives and grows, everything mates, and the sin at the edge of the desert keeps not chewing. Bushes, grass. It even dries up the wells known only to the Arabs. People mate and their eyes die out. A man's soul spill out of him from the day of his birth, like wine from a bottle of a drunkard who can no longer find his mouth. I'm so fat because I'm keeping my soul. I'm keeping it for the three of us. Robbie, 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 trash can, blob. It's better to go to hell with your soul than to go to heaven if you have to let go it all. I'll shake those gates even if my pants turn brown as shit. The pillows are prickly. They have turned off my light. They say I can't sleep with the light on, but it's the other way around. I calm down if the light's on because I can see my little rabbit. If I see my little rabbit, I can pray for him. I can pray for every part of my little rabbit's body, his ears, his little paws, his great tummy, his little eyes. If only he had calm little eyes. If I pray like this for a while and move my hand very slowly, my hand will turn into a little rabbit. Sometimes he's completely on the wall and sometimes completely in my hand. The pillows are prickly. The window has to be open and it also has to be warm. You suffocate in the window closed, if the window is closed, but the air shouldn't circulate much either. Air that circulates mates. Everything that mates loses its independence. Air can be diluted in the same way that old sugar loses its strength. The air must always be fresh, but inside the soul, inside. Air should only circulate inside the soul. I'll cut holes in myself. Let the rose grow from my wounds so that my little rabbit will have company. And let there be a carpet of clover under the rose like the Bay of Ankaran. People. How are you getting here? People who live in the forest wear suits. They have red wings and red caps. How are you coming? Are you one of them? In the forest, there are crowns of thorns for the squirrels, thickets of blueberry bushes. They grow. People go to hell and back. When they take off their sandals, nobody knows. 19 November 1982. I opened the fig, and in it squatted an angel, bound with his hair. Axes threatened his honey. I tore his eye, though it hurt him. Out of the red forest a deer sprang. He came close to the angel, close with his snout, and disappeared. Like a dark papyrus, a mass showed behind the crown and started to pin. Oh, the name! Irenaeus, elephant, Milchin, wedding guest, Parnassus, Geza, Ahmed, blood, deer, tempest intertwined like roots, and grew and kept shooting the folding fan of crosses until they undulated like Medusa's whip in the lazy, agitated sea. Let the three have a blue heart. Let's open the house windows around the blue heart and lure the sun into the window panes. Let's hear the blue blast in the tooth. Let it resound, hollow inside the water. The fig, the temple, and the tempest, the power which holds together the crown of Christ. Oh, climb, climb. And he tore himself awake like a cocoon. With his palm he clung to my white neck because his body flew much faster than mine. But mine was larger and heavier, more guided, and it curtained the horizon. We made a suitcase. From a shawl we made a bundle. From a bundle a pueblo, eyes, a nose, a mouth, caves for ears. First the city was built, then the man. First the city had more flesh than the man. Give it back to him. Give it back to him, I tell you, so that the beak doesn't entangle itself in the moss, so that the crown doesn't explode because of the horrible pressure. Or take the machine and make the nib, such as the ice cream man makes. And this wish, the arch above the circle is heaven, the blind window of the world. To Metka. If I set fire to the white frame of the house, will the flame burn brighter than the weight falling off our bodies, brighter than the samba, brighter than my juicy head? I'm in the snow, you're dancing under the gigantic green trees with your sad, juicy eyes. We're listening to the rhymes and slippers of your paintbrush, of meadows in which you see moss and what's under the mixed moss. A white lynx scratching in a dark green throat. Does the sky ever stop itself up and rattle? Where do you rest? In an avalanche or on the earth? I gorge myself here, gorge myself, swelling to keep from being torn apart in the heights by the clouds, pink, blue, and violet, and the flowers, like Tiepolo, the air cleansing itself behind him before the light floods and crushes us. And the last one, done today, translated today, with Michael Thomas Stern, who is my translator here. Je strmel, drugi bar, je strmel, luža, težka, platina, drugi bar, je strmel, tihko svate, luna apno šmirgla, pelje, luna apno pelje. Dimijo se kobile med granitnimi kockami, ki rase mah. Je kupola, so pribori, so grehi, je češka koča, je zmaj, tauha zmaj, je preveč elementov, je srebrnina, je strmel, drugi bar, je strmel, je bil opit, je dal plahto, je imel šaržer, je imel sandale prerezane, je strmel, drugi bar, je strmel, skapal mred diptih, kosim. He stared, another bar. He stared, a puddle, heavy, platinum, another bar. He stared, silent piece of cotton wool. The moon sends lime, the moon leads lime. Mares emit smoke among granite cubes where moss grows. There's a dome, there are tablewares, there are sins, there's a Czech cottage, there's a dragon. He dives, the dragon dives. There are too many elements. There's silverware. He stared. Another bar. He stared. He was drunk. He was drunk. Did he give a canvas cover? He had cut through sandals. He had a cartridge clip. He stared. Another bar. He stared. With a cap, the diptych dies. I lunch. Thank you.